been collecting since I was a child. Everything's gone. Disabled, no work. I don't know what else I can do.
Heartbreak for flood victims in San Diego as they take in the scale of the damage from a drenching storm. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. The floodwaters have receded across San Diego tonight, but now a challenging recovery begins for that area. Many neighborhoods are a muddy mess following yesterday's flash floods. The rushing water swept away vehicles and inundated homes and businesses. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria toured damaged neighborhoods today as people began the cleanup. The mayor promised to support flood victims as they crowded around him to ask questions.
We're going to be here.
But I want you to
help,
hear what I'm saying.
Help is on its way.
That street that I was staying at 7 a.m. this morning that we were clearing, we're not doing that one and walking away. When we're done with that one, we're going to go to the next one, and then the next one, until it's all done. We're not going to stop. We're not going to leave these streets in that condition. And importantly, we're going to do the advocacy to get the resources to hopefully get you in a place where you can be back in your home. It's going to take a while. I will not lie to you. It will take a while. But I will do everything I can. I was on the phone with the governor on the way here. I was talking to our county supervisors last night. I'm doing my job to make sure that this community gets what it absolutely needs.
And the mayor, you heard him reference a conversation with the governor. California's Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency for San Diego County as well as Ventura County up to the north. That will help local governments access state resources to recover from these storms. Fox 5's Elizabeth Alvarez shows us some of the challenges that people are now facing.
There is a lot of cleanup to be done in South Crest, including all of the vehicles that are now damaged and piled up, including this Cadillac, this white vehicle that is stuck in a vertical position. It just goes to show you how strong the current was yesterday during the flash flood. So many homes here are uninhabitable, especially around Beta Street. You can see the aftermath and how the water level here rose above chest level. This morning, as we were doing live reports, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria showed up to the area with San Diego Fire Rescue to get an up-close look. The mayor also stopped to speak with a few residents who managed to stay in their homes overnight. This was a community where firefighters Monday had to rescue people and their pets who had climbed onto their roofs. Residents were also seen using their own personal jet skis and canoes to help their neighbors. There's a creek that runs alongside this neighborhood that overflowed yesterday. The battalion chief, who was in command during the storm, tells me this morning that nothing could have prevented the catastrophe here.
The water levels we saw yesterday, and we see the residuals up today by the lines on the houses, it would have overwhelmed any storm drain system, right? It's far exceeded the 100-year flood maps that FEMA has given for this area. It dropped so much water, over 4 inches were registered in National City, right? 4 inches of rain over just a few short hours put so much water on the streets and in the storm drains and all that. It overwhelmed any system.
It's horrible. No one was prepared. Like, who thinks of flooding in San Diego? Literally, just look at the water line. It's like up to here, up to my head. Like, this is no exaggeration. Like, this is where it was.
We had so many neighbors helping neighbors, right? Apartment complexes where someone was taking the initiative, right? We couldn't be everywhere. We live our lives trying to be there to help everyone, right? And in a normal day, only a few people needed our help at once. We were able to spread that around. But yesterday, we were overwhelmed.
That was the battalion chief getting a bit emotional knowing that neighbors stepped up to help each other. Now, as far as what's next, especially for the vehicles that are damaged and piled up along the streets, well, it will be up to the vehicle's owner to have it towed and removed from the area. That is the very latest in South Crest. I'm Elizabeth Alvarez. Back to you.
And that same system that flooded the San Diego area also brought rain to Arizona today. This is what it looked like in Phoenix and Tempe. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking that system. And Mark, you also have some insight on why the San Diego area was just overwhelmed by all that rain.
Yeah, Alex actually had some thunderstorms developed to really enhance the rainfall rate. So, yeah, yesterday in San Diego, the fourth wettest day on history in San Diego, and those records go back to 1850. So as you can see, 2.73, that's a big number any day. But when we look at the rainfall rates, you can see what happened in 3 hours. over 1.5 inches. In 1 hour, they picked up 0.81. So obviously, this is just overwhelming the whole system, and that's why that led to a lot of flooding in the San Diego area. We're going back in time here, and this was the radar coverage, as you can see, yesterday morning. And once again, we had some thunderstorm development. You have the system itself, and then those yellows and oranges indicating some thunderstorm development leading to those intense downpours. And these are all the storm reports scattered throughout the region over the past 24 hours, and just click on this one. You can see in a national city, and that reporting with all the rainfall and also the impact with the vehicles out there. So thankfully, those intense downpours moved on out of town. This was a scene in Los Angeles today. Still some lingering clouds, temperatures in the upper 60s, as you can see. And then in the San Francisco Bay Area, San Francisco 60 degrees with lots of clouds in place. Rain increasing tonight in the Bay Area overnight tonight and into your Wednesday morning. In Seattle, we had some cloud cover, temperatures in the mid-50s this afternoon. So here's a look at the satellite and the radar. You can see one system developing out here in the Pacific. As Alex mentioned, the rain showers drifted into Arizona. You can see the Arizona radar fairly active today from Tucson closer to Phoenix. And then here we go, the rain approaching Eureka. And it looks like we're talking about some rainfall moving into the Bay Area tonight and into tomorrow morning, primarily tomorrow morning impacting the Wednesday morning commute. Now, this is still a ways away, but into next week, there's signs that a good portion of the West Coast could be talking about significant rainfall. We could have a major atmospheric river developing, and that could lead to significant problems. So not only down towards Southern California, but closer to the Bay Area and even up in the Pacific Northwest. We'll have to keep an eye on the weather pattern, how things develop, because we could be talking about some really impactful storms. That is into next week. At least for tonight into tomorrow morning, the rain coverage on the increase up in the Pacific Northwest, closer to San Francisco, and then you see those showers kind of falling apart as they approach Southern California into the afternoon hours. So as you can see the breakdown over the next several days, we're talking about rain back in the forecast up in Seattle for your Wednesday. Rain for San Francisco as well. Looks like quite a few clouds closer to Los Angeles and closer to Phoenix with that sun cloud mix. And definitely have to keep an eye on the developing pattern into next week. It could impact a good portion of the West Coast and possibly some significant rainfall back in the forecast.
Mark, thank you. In the Bay Area, a woman was rescued today after spending nearly 15 hours stranded on top of her car in the middle of fast-moving water. Fire crews say she was trying to drive across a flooded road near Lake Del Valle in Livermore last night and underestimated the depth of the water. The woman was able to swim out of her car and climb on top of it, where she spent the night with no way to call 911.
Of course, during that time that her vehicle overturned in the water, she lost phone and all other important items. Not to mention it was a bad cell coverage area to begin with.
Fortunately, a camper in that area spotted her this morning and a CHP helicopter lifted her to safety. All right, we turn now to a story that people across the West are closely following along with the rest of the country. And Fox News projects former President Donald Trump will win New Hampshire's Republican primary. Votes are still being counted in that state. So far, former President Trump is in the lead with about 54% of the vote. Nikki Haley has about 45%. Haley addressed supporters in Concord tonight, vowing to stay in this race. The next primary is in her home state of South Carolina. That's coming up on February 3rd. Senate negotiators are hoping to reach a deal addressing issues at the border by the end of this week. As Fox's Connor Hansen reports, Republicans and Democrats are blaming each other for the delay in reaching an agreement.
Though we have made significant progress, there's still more work to do.
Senators working on a deal to secure the southern border say they're close, but they aren't quite finished.
We're working hard on a bipartisan basis to try to come up with a piece of legislation that will actually help begin to solve this crisis at the border.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has said he wants a bill on the Senate floor this week. Adding to the holdup, negotiators on both sides also need to come to an agreement on funding for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. As leaders from both sides work to hammer out a deal, other Democrats and Republicans are blaming each other for the crisis. And some have accused each other of sabotaging the deal.
If the Democrats were serious about the border, they could have done something when Joe Biden was in his first 2 years of office.
We have the obligation to tune out the hard-right chaos and let the negotiators finish their work. Too much hangs in the balance for our national security, for our border, for our friends around the world.
As negotiations continue, House Republicans plan to move forward with articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas as soon as next week. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Today marks 1 year since the mass shooting at 2 Bay Area farms that left 7 people dead. The sole survivor of that attack shared his perspective during a memorial earlier today. Farm worker Pedro Romero Perez expressed gratitude for the assistance he and his family have received since the tragedy in Half Moon Bay. Elected officials joined with the farm worker community, including representatives from the White House and Congress.
I have never seen a community come together the way this community has. It's not a bunch of words. A year from right now, farm workers are going to be able to move into dignified housing, and there will be more.
Plans for affordable housing, specifically for Half Moon Bay farm workers, got underway last year. Officials say there has been good progress made, but there is still a lot more work to do. A judge today postponed the arraignment for the suspect in that mass shooting. Chun-Li Zhao was indicted by a San Mateo County grand jury yesterday on 7 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. He was scheduled to be arraigned today. During the court appearance, Zhao did not enter a plea. The judge granted a request by the defense to postpone the arraignment to review the indictment. The next hearing is scheduled for February 29th. Up next tonight here on West Coast Wrap, artificial intelligence tasked with a life-saving job. Coming up, see how it's being used to keep people from taking fake prescription drugs. Plus, it's a golfer's dream. We'll hear from an Arizona man who scored 2 holes in 1 on the same day. Unbelievable. The Transportation Department has approved $2.5 billion in private bonds for a high-speed rail project that will connect Las Vegas to Southern California. That's on top of $3 billion from the infrastructure bill for the Brightline West project. This promises to create 35,000 jobs and reduce emissions by more than 400,000 tons a year. Construction is set to begin this summer, and it's expected to open in 2028. Southern California healthcare workers held an informational picket today at several hospitals to highlight working conditions they say put patients at risk. They gathered at Garfield Medical Center in Monterey Park, calling for the hospital to address what they believe is a staffing shortage. We did reach out to the healthcare system to comment on the employees' concerns, and we are still awaiting a response. A strike at all Cal State campuses is over tonight after a tentative agreement was reached last night. The deal reached on the same day faculty members started a planned one-week strike. They say the new agreement includes retroactive 5% pay raises back to last July and another 5% increase this coming July. It also includes 4 additional weeks of paid parental leave, bringing the total to 10 weeks. CSU Chancellor Mildred Garcia said in a statement, quote, "I am extremely pleased and deeply appreciative that we have reached common ground with CFA that will end the strike immediately. The agreement enables CSU to fairly compensate its valued world-class faculty while protecting the university system's long-term financial sustainability. The deal still needs approval from the 28,000 faculty members. No date yet set for that vote." Los Angeles police are looking tonight for whoever set off a massive illegal fireworks show. Fox 11's Laura Diaz spoke to people in that neighborhood where those fireworks went off.
I was scared. To be honest, it was so loud and everything was shaking.
Sunday night, Little Tokyo, a massive show of firepower as hundreds of fireworks light up the night sky of downtown Los Angeles. 10:40 p.m., and people are startled by the round after round of fireworks detonated, shaking windows in the neighborhood not far from police headquarters. Tuesday, investigators working the case met with Fox 11. While illegal fireworks are nothing new in downtown, this latest event was on another level. Currently, the LAPD is poring over surveillance footage from the Geffen Contemporary at Mocha, near where the fireworks were launched.
Well, this particular incident was massive. The injuries that could have been sustained from that and the fires that could have been started is a concern to us.
It was so loud.
This pair of journalists lives in the downtown area. They heard the thunderous noise and sprang into action.
We heard another detonation coming from behind us, so we turned the corner, and as we turned the corner, we could smell smoke. And that's how we knew that we were getting closer to the launch site.
Peter and Sophia are with the legacy paper, Rafu Shimpo. They followed the noise and the scent of a news story.
We're just going to count out how many boxes we see here.
They shared their exclusive images and video of the event, including this one right here, showing the burning remnants of the explosives unleashed on Sunday night.
And that was Fox 11's Laura Diaz reporting for us tonight. It remains unclear who planned that show or whether those people will be facing any criminal charges. Farmers in southern Idaho are preparing for possible winter flooding because of all the snow the state has seen so far this season. Forecasters say the snowpack numbers up north are at levels that haven't been seen since 2017, when Snowmageddon hit Idaho with more than 2 feet of snow in just a month. That led to significant wintertime flooding in the Magic Valley. But northern Idaho is seeing a snowpack that is below average.
Farmers face so many challenges each and every season, and every region is different. You have one part of Idaho that may be experiencing certain kind of weather or conditions. Another part of Idaho may be completely different.
The state depends on the winter snowpack for summer irrigation. Officials say so far water storage is above average for this time of year. A skier in Arizona was killed after striking a tree at a resort near Flagstaff. It happened yesterday at Snow Bowl Resort. Authorities say witnesses saw the man lose control and crash into the tree after going just outside of the boundaries of a Black Diamond run. Investigators say he did appear to be wearing a helmet, and alcohol and drugs do not appear to be a factor. Authorities say the victim was a 22-year-old man from Tempe, just outside of Phoenix. Some companies are turning to artificial intelligence for help as they try to stop counterfeit drugs from killing more Americans. Fox's Jake Carolexis has more on this development tonight from Seattle.
The CDC says overdose deaths from fake prescription drugs have been rising since 2019. We talked to a business in Western Washington that uses artificial intelligence to determine which drugs are real and which are fake.
When you can identify every item irrefutably, you can make sure that counterfeit items don't come in.
Alithion's CEO Roy Genzarski demonstrates how this smartphone app and stand can validate over-the-counter drugs by taking a picture of the packaging and verifying the pharmaceutical company that produced them.
So every pill, every bottle, whatever it is that they want to protect, everyone that goes by, a camera simply automatically takes a picture of every one of them. In that instance, a digital fingerprint, or what we call a feature print, is created and stored.
Right now, we're testing medicine you could find in a pharmacy. But Genzarski says the app can also identify fake pills laced with fentanyl.
It might be counterfeit fentanyl. It might be actual other medicine laced with fentanyl. The ability for us to identify every item as a unique item that came from the original manufacturer means that you cannot get away with tampering.
The latest data from the DEA says they seized almost 60 million fentanyl-laced fake pills in 2022.
We're just trying to keep a lid on it. It's so prevalent wherever we go. Fentanyl is obviously the drug of choice right now.
Baines says they have a strong method for identifying fentanyl, but also thinks artificial intelligence could help the cause.
That technology would be extremely important for us to have something like that we could actually, use our smartphones and pull something up immediately to see what's going on.
The most recent data from the CDC says the number of overdose deaths from counterfeit prescription drugs more than doubled from the middle of 2019 through the end of 2021. In Seattle, Jake Carolexis, Fox News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Rap, a new group of Oscar nominees announced today in Hollywood and making history. Up next, the movies going for big wins at the Academy Awards. Also, most golfers will go a lifetime without scoring a single hole-in-one. Coming up tonight, we'll introduce you to one Arizona man, a very lucky man, celebrating 2 special drives in one day that he will never forget. Tonight, we know the films, actors, and directors that will be going for Oscar Gold this year. Today in Hollywood, the nominations were revealed for the 96th Academy Awards. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin breaks down the nominees and explains why some believe one of the highest-grossing movies of the year got snubbed.
Nominees for the 2024 Academy Awards have been announced, and Oppenheimer leads the way to Hollywood's biggest night with 13, including Best Picture.
This is Bella.
Fellow films vying for the top title are 11-time nominated Poor Things, 10-time nominated Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, which has 8 nominations, though one of the most noticeable snubs with director Greta Gerwig not getting a nod. Also up for Best Picture are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, Past Lives, and The Zone of Interest. Best Director contenders are Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Poor Things director Yorgos Lanthimos, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest.
I need you here.
Lily Gladstone makes history as the first Native American to be nominated for the Actress in a Leading Role Oscar. Joining her are Naiads Annette Bening, Anatomy of a Fall's Sandra Hüller, Maestro's Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Actor in a Leading Role nominees are Maestro's Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti from The Holdovers, Oppenheimer's Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
People want to love you.
In supporting actor are American Fiction's Sterling K. Brown, Killers of the Flower Moon's Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr. of Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo of Poor Things. Actress in a supporting role nods go to Oppenheimer's Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, Barbie's America Ferrera, Naiad's Jodie Foster, and Davine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers. The 96th Oscars air March 10th, hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, this year starting an hour earlier. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Now to a special auction happening in Arizona this week where people can bid on a custom car once owned by former President Trump. This year, the highly anticipated Barrett Jackson car auction in Scottsdale includes Trump's blue 1997 Lamborghini Diablo Roadster. Car lovers also have over 2,000 other vehicles to bid on as well, ranging from classic hot rods to modern novelties. Over 1,200 automobilia relics are also up for grabs as well. Things like neon signs, jukeboxes, and soda machines, among other colorful pieces of history. The Barrett Jackson auction runs through this Sunday. Finally tonight, an Arizona golfer had the round of his life. 77-year-old Cliff Romay plays every week at Orange Tree Golf Course in Scottsdale, but yesterday's outing with his friends was something special. He hit a hole-in-one, not once, but twice in the same round. Cliff says it was an unforgettable day.
It was probably my worst round in several weeks. I just could not keep the ball in the right spots. It's a great memory forever.
That it certainly is. Congrats to him. By the way, the odds of making 2 hole-in-ones in the same round of golf are 67 million to 1, and he beat those odds. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a good night.